Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Dominions 5. We are playing as MA Ulm. It is a tournament finals, and this is turn 26. We're at war with Pythium, and we raided a few provinces around his capital with these little Black Lord raiding squads, and I'm quite happy with how they turned out. They're quite effective. And we had moved off of Pythium itself. Although, of course, we left like one unit here, and he did not even break. So now this is actually a great position for me tactically, because he presumably has a ton of mages and a ton of troops in Pythium, and he can't move them out. He has to break siege first. So what this allows me to do is jump onto this fort here, and if he wanted to patrol, he could do it, but he would not have access to all his army in Pythium. So he'd only be fighting me with what is presumably half of his force or some portion of his force. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to take our big army and we're going to go on top of the second forest over here. Meanwhile, we raided out this way from his capital, and we're going to kind of continue to raid out here in these squads. Looks like Satis, who was partially invaded by Pythium, also partially invaded by East, is now partially being invaded by Vanheim. So sucks to be Satis. And it looks like here there is a war brewing between Bandarlog and Vanarus, the details of which I am not precisely aware of. Let me just mention, we found a fort. We found a site here, which is a forgotten fortress. It just gave us a fort and also 3 earth and 1 death income, so that's really sweet. I just wanted to mention that. Yeah, let's move on. That was turn 26. Let's go to turn 27. Okay, let's watch. Oh, this is just a little raid. Oh, no, we lose here. So I think, because there's a mage and he actually casts spells. Okay, Astral 2 mage. This is not like a cheap mage, but still. An Astral 2 mage with 1 Astral Pearl. Casts Mind Burn. Just outright kills my guys. 1 mage kills these guys. Now, to be fair, this is actually like this is a 215 gold mage. My guy costs 105 gold. This is 150 gold plus 2 earth gems. And he has like 200 gold. So like this is actually in the favor of Pythium. These Black Lord raiding squads, like each item only cost me 1 gem. So this is super cheap for me to do, but it just shows how vulnerable it is to the specific counter, which is any kind of Astral Mage. Okay, here the raid happens. This is the battle on top of the fort. Only PD. Now he clears the single crossbow that was on top of Pythium. Here we get to see Is's Bless. Movarks. I think it's a typical Bless. A little atypical. He's got cold weapons. So attack skill, cold weapons, major shock, poison resistance, cold resistance, MR, undying, blood surge, and larger. Larger is a really interesting choice here. Size 4 reduces their attack density by a lot. Does give them a lot more hit points. I'd be curious about what his reasoning is for going for larger on this Bless. It seems to me that you could do better with other earth and nature stuff, but I'd be curious what the player was thinking here. Like, why larger instead of like more strength for damage, more HP? Just because this gives you size 4, and instead size 3 you can get 2 per square. I'd be really curious about that. Anyways, they delete things pretty convincingly, and in fact you can see here that what he's doing, let me just go through here, see if anything else happened. Oh, Jotunheim pings this scout here. This is the nasty scout. This throne here. This is the nasty throne between our 2 provinces, our 2 nations. Okay. A few things geopolitically here. So East is not only getting a ton of land from from Cetis. But now he sees Pythium is under attack, so he's actually starting to attack into Pythium. East is playing a great game so far, just really winning his first war and now just taking advantage of all these weak neighbors who can't respond. Now, what I'm hoping is that Vanheim here, I think, well, not what I'm hoping, but I think Vanheim should be in a position here to take Cetis before East can. Anything else sort of geopolitically happening? Not really. We one turn popped this this fort. Now, if you're wondering why that's possible, it's because I brought a bunch of my crossbows, these guys, and they have a siege bonus of 5. Interesting. I didn't realize there were all these death sites here. So we one turn popped it, and we're going to pull the trigger. We had some guys here which we're going to reinforce on top, but we are going to go ahead and storm the castle with my big army against his big army. And let's see. So he broke out here last turn. He's going to be able to move on top. And yeah, that's going to happen. Now, pause the video right now and think about what's about to happen here. What we've learned so far from what Pythium has been doing, and how we think my, disposition of troops here is going to fare against his. And if you can identify either a strength of what I'm about to do or a weakness of what I'm about to do, write it down somewhere, and now let's go and see what happens next turn. That was turn 27. I think he's just retaking stuff on PD. Okay, view battle. Okay, he pokes. I don't think anything happens here. Oh yeah, so he pokes with the Hydra. It does a bit of damage. It kills 9 knights. Now here I storm the fortress. View battle. So, for one thing, I was hoping... So a few things are an issue here. I was actually expecting to fight this battle on the outside. I thought he would move with his cap army, and this army patrol outside. So I was expecting to actually have this battle outdoors. Instead, we're going to have to funnel through this small choke point. That's one problem. Another issue is, his air access is enough to give him mist. And mist, reducing precision is a bit of an issue, but I'm hoping that masses of arrows are going to be effective here. However, what I'm hoping is going to happen here is that some of my flaming arrows and my iron darts are going to actually kill some of these mages in the back lines, especially the iron darts because they have really long range. However, note that I'm attacking 2 or 3 turns before I get Iron Blizzard, which is, again, a pretty big anti-timing on my part. But you do see here that the flaming arrows do reach, they can technically reach the back, right? But the iron darts are just being fired over here, right? The fact that we're fighting in a fort is providing more targets, especially these targets up front here, for my mage priests to shoot at, and those are kind of wasted shots. I'd much rather they even be shooting these guys than these archers on top. So that is the first problem. I would also like you guys to notice how we have no knights left because he's got a communion going with a ton of soul slayers. And they have just been wrecking my front line. And so because of the fort mechanic here, because of the fort battle mechanic, you know, even if he'd had this same formation, but not in a fort, my front line would now have, even though they would have been shredded by Soulslay, I would have, destroyed all these targets with my knights, and then all these evocations and arrows would be targeting more of this backline. And honestly, in an open battlefield, by now, I think all of our frontline armies would be annihilated. His would be annihilated by my cavalry and my evocations, and mine would be annihilated by his Soulslay. And then it would be like archers and my evocators versus his mages, and it would have been pretty destructive and pretty ugly, to tell you the truth. But as it stands, this was a terrible decision on my part, I think, to take this fight. And there's a few problems that have led up to this moment. So first of all, if you look here, there's a lot of problems here, and these are like bad decisions on my part, like strategic overall planning decisions. He's got like 20 mages doing soul slays. I've got 7 mages doing evocations. I actually believe that in an open battlefield, I could, like, my mages would be more effective than his. So his soul slay is super effective against my guys, but my evocations are deadly towards his guys. I think that is true, but I only brought 7 dudes. He's got 20 dudes. So no matter how much better I think my priest-smiths are against his army compared to his soulslay guys against my army, they're not like 3 times better, right? It's not like my 7 guys can outweigh 21 guys. Plus, I mean, he's got his pretender here. Like, that is stupid on my part, right? I was quite overconfident. And the truth is, maybe 7 with Iron Blizzard might be closer, but they're still not going to be 3 times as effective. Like, I have been recruiting. So he's been recruiting mages, these are just regular mages. They're not cap-only mages. My guys are cap-only mages. And I spent the first year trying to get an air random. I wasn't recruiting cap mages from the beginning. So I'm at a huge numbers disadvantage in terms of mages. And I just kind of did not factor that in. And that is a huge part. Like, my entire strategy is, let's have really tough guys backed up by super strong evocations. But I didn't bring the evokers. So this is like big mistake number 1. The numbers are not there. There's another problem related to numbers, and that is my decision to go with Black Knights. So Black Knights, this goes back to like turn 1 of the game. I decided to expand with Black Knights. Honestly, you don't have to. You could expand with just regular infantry. But I felt like doing something a little different, and then I figured, you know what, let's do the whole Black Knight raiding parties with a few Black Knights guarding, one of the Black Knight commanders, these guys. I figured, let's do that. That'll be fun and interesting. Totally legitimate decision. Then I was thinking, I'll roll that into a raiding and attacking army against my first war target. Legitimate decision. But not against Mind Burn and Soul Slay. Because honestly, against any other of these, well, actually maybe not Ind, because they're also an astral nation, but against any other nation, that works well. Having super high quality frontline units, excellent choice. But against Pythium, you just need dudes. You need a lot of dudes who are just going to be targets for the Soul Slay. Like, a knight is going to get one shot by a Soul Slay. So is a Battle Axe dude, or whatever I choose to bring, right? Or dogs, even. Could have just made a bajillion dogs, guys. Doesn't matter. 5 resistance, 8 magic resistance. They're all just going to get killed. So I could have had, like, literally 45 gold, 7 gold. I could have had like 8 times more targets if I had just sent a bajillion dogs. Right? I mean, it would have looked ridiculous, but it would have been a lot more effective. All right, sorry about that little interruption. Right, so we made several kind of strategic mistakes. We had far, well, we underestimated their numbers, or rather, we did not. This is totally predictable. I think we blindly thought we had more guys than we did. Our guys were not as effective because we didn't have the research, and we had too few because we had knights here. Like, this was just wrong on so many levels. So now we're in big trouble. Because, I mean, we're not in big trouble in that Pythium's not going to suddenly win the war. Pythium's going to die to, like, East, basically, right? Like, they've got to fight other people. But we have spent all of our major, like, all of our resources, all of our army, and we have not succeeded. And we didn't do enough damage. We didn't do any damage. So it's going to take a long time for us to rebuild to be able to, you know, get a second strike and get something out of this war. So we're consolidating here with what we can. We've done a bit of a PD dump because we're a little light on units. And we're just going to try to stabilize in the meantime and kind of take it from there. In terms of, yeah, I don't think there's anything else. Like, see, now we're going to get Evocation 6, like the turn after we have the big battle. So, a pretty big failure on my part. I think the idea of going after Pythium first is totally fine. Yes, Astral Magic is devastating to low MR troops, but to be honest, it's devastating to all sorts of things, unless you're going in with Sacreds with high MR. But, like Soulslay is very strong, and Pythium is using it very well. Soulslay would be super effective even against, like, any expensive Sacred, it's good against. It might be not good against, like, Ind-type Sacreds, where he's just got a million of them, right? Where they're basically just, like, expensive, high-quality units. The best way to go is to just have a lot of cheap units to provide tons of targets for the Soulslay. And then the thing that I was counting on to actually do the damage, I just didn't bring any of it, and I didn't have it researched properly. So, just a bad play on my part. Just a really bad play for me opening this game up. Anyways, we'll see how things turn out. Actually, that was turn 28. Let's do a couple more turns here. Let's do turn 29. Okay, let's see. He pings me. All right, there's some... Let's look at the... There's a war here going on between Bandarlog and Vanrus, and I haven't seen a lot of it, but I haven't shown you the Bless here. The Bless on these guys is Shock, Fire, Barkskin, Twist, Fate. Interesting Bless here. Questionable, I think, but interesting. Here we're doing Moss Warriors. So he's just, Moss Body. He's just buffing his Herdmen, which are very good units. 17 Protection, Berserker, Dual Wielders. So that's really cool. And let's see. So Moss Body going off. He does not have poison resistance. And Berserkers are good. They do a ton of damage when protection isn't enough. They don't have a lot of hit points. Okay, now let's look at the remainder. Let's look at the battle. So East is attacking Pythium now. And you can see in 2 turns, East has now taken over the entire western frontier of Pythium. Vanrus appears to be winning here against Bandarlog. Jotunheim is sieging down Nabah. So everybody's getting bigger. Vanheim here is trying to eat Cetizzle. He's being very slow about it. I don't know, like, where's his army? This, like, 50 iron hairs isn't a lot. So everybody's getting bigger while I'm not. I'm kind of failing failing. So I've put together an army here. I think we're going to go... Yeah, I'm just moving here. I'm doing moves here, strategic moves. He has a big army. If he attacks here, it'd be bad. So I'm going to try to raid him here, consolidate. He also now has to deal with East pushing from the back, so he can't just freely attack into me. So I'm just trying to stake out land before everybody else claims the land. I don't know who between me and East can get to these things first, but, you know, I can at least... You know, if I attack here and bump East, I'll win this bump. So this is like a province that I need to get before somebody claims it. Like, the thing is, Pythium is dead because because the combination of the attacks from me and from East, it's not like I did any damage, but I've done economic damage. I've taken all his land to the east. East has taken all the land to the west. So Pythium is kind of dead. Now he can inflict, I mean, he already inflicted a lot of damage on me. It remains to be seen who finishes him off. I just have to make sure I get as much out of this as possible before the war is over. Hopefully without losing, you know, an entire army once again. Let's go to turn 20, turn 30 here. So East has moved on top of Pythium. I have taken out that province, as I said. Oh, in Naba, I think this is Jotunheim. Yeah, storming Naba, and I think this is the end of Naba. You might have another province or two. Lightning bolts. But his sacred tap... Now, lightning bolts is good against Jotunheim. They have shock vulnerability, but now there's nothing left. It's not enough. Not enough. Yeah, Naba has been vanquished. Okay, so East has jumped on top of everything here. And actually, because Pythium's major army is in the second forest, he can't really, I don't think, break this attack on Pythium. He could break this with all his... in a fort battle, I think he wins this with his soul-slaying army. But maybe not in the open field. He gets surrounded, so maybe he wants to wait inside the fort. I start talking with East here about how we can split Pythium up. I'm actually in a very weak negotiating position, but East doesn't necessarily know that, so I'm playing a stronger hand than I actually have. And so I'm trying to get at least like one fort out of this that otherwise... Like, the thing is, I could actually... My Guardians do very well against Movark Knights, and I'm getting more and more of them every turn. So, potentially, I could fight him off, but I don't want to. Like, it's going to be hard enough for me to actually kill the Pythian army. So, you know, the best case scenario is Pythium is... East does a lot of the killing of Pythian's main army, and then I can still get one of these two forts. So I'm just trying to negotiate this. I'm trying to get at least this land over here. I mean, I'm raiding, and I'm gonna get this stuff. I think I definitely... I mean, I'm in the negotiations here, so I'm trying to grab at least all of this bordering land. And I'm trying to get access to maybe one of these forts. So, a pretty bad first war for me. I lost the decisive battle decisively because of, you know, bad planning and bad strategy. However, besides the fact that I didn't get I got some land. I didn't get much. I lost a lot of troops, so it puts me at a disadvantage compared to other players who have had more success. So, for example, Jotunheim here gained a cap and just more land, and also gained land here. Vanheim is actually not... like, I don't know what he's doing here. He's taking forever to siege this down. Satis is dead already. Like, I'm not sure why Vanheim isn't having success. It looks like Banderlog and Vanroos are still having at it. So this is like a pitched battle here, although it looks like Vanheim is getting the upper hand, but this is far from over. East is dominating, killed one guy, has basically taken over an entire third nation, given how much of this stuff he's taken over here and here. So East doing very well for himself. And that's it. So we're not in a terrible position. We're in a pretty bad position. It's not terrible. It's not unwinnable. We have to, secure enough gains out of the situation so we can move on to whatever the next thing is going to be. So we'll see what that is in the next episode. I'll catch you guys then. Take care.